Welcome to another episode of the Scouting Australia podcast, powered by School of Property. I'm here with my co-host, Sammy Gordon. My name is Peter Contos. We're looking forward to another episode today.
Pete, mate, that was an unbelievable introduction. You have passed the trials. Jimmy has been terminated from employment with the Scouting Australia podcast and Australian Property Scout and School of Property and everything else that has to do with us. And mate, you're the new co-host, so welcome.
Feels good. Great to be here. Great to be part of the team.
Mate, it's great to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, you might remember Big Peter Contos. Actually, funnily enough, on the stage twice, yeah? Because you would have been on the stage with the mentoring, was that at the summit in Gold Coast or that was the first batch?
It was the first batch.
First batch. Okay, sweet.
The last summit.
On the stage at the summit in Sydney, obviously sharing the story there as well of what you did last year, and everything around mentoring and how you scale your portfolio. But obviously today we're going to be diving into the journey of what we really hoped to achieve, which we have actually done and achieved, ladies and gentlemen, which is the acquisition of 10 deals in 12 months, which is a feat that not many people knock over, man. So we've obviously got a lot of things to kind of share and knock over and go through in regards to your journey and your portfolio and the acquisition, everything to do with it. But mate, just that in a nutshell, 10 deals in 12 months, which is absolute insanity, mate. How does it feel to have hit that as a goal?
Still surreal. I keep checking my spreadsheets and everything just constantly, it's all happened so quickly and still coming to terms with it. But I feel like I've done what I set out to do, maybe even more aggressively. So just feeling generally really good about it.
Yeah,
Pretty
man.
pumped. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yep.
Dude, I know when we had the initial chat, when you first obviously joined mentoring and we were running through everything, man, we set some pretty aggressive goals. And I don't know if either of us really thought that the 10 in the 12 months was achievable. I think we actually set, from memory, it was about 6, I think it was.
It was 6,
yeah. Six was the original goal. And then when we realized the rate of acquisition that we had been on and that we had done, and then obviously which was about halfway through the year, and then we realized the net equity position and the growth, and we obviously pulled a few levers in the portfolio as well. That's where it really opened up to something a lot larger than the initial goals was now apparent that it could be achieved. So man, I'm looking forward to diving into it, man. It's hectic, man. It's a crazy story. So well done, firstly, on yourself. But mate, I'd love to know a bit of a snapshot of current portfolio value. Yep. Debt levels against it, LVR, and net equity position as of right now, just to set the stage for the listeners.
Yep. So as of right now, there's the 11th property, including the SMSF.
Yep.
The total portfolio value's around 6.9 million.
Okay.
The equity's 4.85. The debt is 4.85.
Mm-hmm.
So net equity around the 2 million. LVR 71%.
Beautiful, man. So you're sitting, just literally just a touch over $2 million worth of net equity. Yep. on a just shy of $7 million portfolio as well. That's pretty impressive, man. How does it feel having a let's just round, I don't like an uneven number. How does it feel sitting on a $7 million portfolio?
Feels good. Still much just, living in the spreadsheet kind of thing. It doesn't feel super real. I think that's just the nature of investing, having no boundaries as well, like not having all of the properties in my backyard, I guess. But it feels really good knowing that thing's chugging away, growing. Like I love putting different figures. If it grows at 8%, 10%, like it's just astronomical compared to what I can earn in my job. So
for
it's
sure,
really
man.
good.
It's funny because I almost want to ask, how's it feel? Because you've also got over $2 million worth of net equity now, and you've got nearly $5 million worth of debt. Like, does which excites you more, $2 million worth of equity or nearly $5 million worth of debt being a fear?
I would be scared of the debt if it wasn't generally taking care of itself to some extent, to an extent that makes me comfortable.
Yep.
And that's part of the yields on some of the purchases are pretty good, and it helps me not really shy away from the debt, I guess. It's healthy still in my eyes.
For sure.
And it's definitely not the plan long term to have, that much debt, or at least to work the LVR down over time anyway. So
it's all relevant as well, right? Because like a $5 million worth of debt on a $20 million portfolio is only a 25% LVR.
Exactly.
You and I would both be exceptionally happy with that.
Yep.
But the $5 million on the 7 is obviously not an LVR level. Well, you said 71% though, right?
Yep.
71% is still super healthy, man, on a portfolio that size. especially with the rate of acquisition that we've gone through as well.
Exactly.
So, man, I think it's it's cool. I always love like that's an exciting thing to be able to get access to and be able to scale up and leverage is the big name of the game in property. So, mate, I'm excited to dive into this and share with the listeners how you've pretty much done it as well. So, man, one final question that I really want to sort of start with before we dive into the journey is like you've built a large portfolio. You've also built it very rapidly. And as well, it hasn't been done. It's not as if you started and then did 10 properties in 12 months from a standing start, right? Obviously, you had an existing portfolio as well, so you're an experienced investor in this space too. But man, what I would love to know, goals and timeframes. What is it that you're really looking to achieve? What are the goals that you're chasing out of this thing?
So I try to put a number on it of what feels right, but it's all about the number that gets me the outcome. So the outcome is, I guess, flexibility in work. Like I can't sit still for too long, whether it's a hobby or work. I think I'll always want to work. So it's more the ability to work on my terms, provide for my family, and just help out as much as possible in the future with holidays, bringing the family together, raising kids, all those things, but just being able to be present while doing it and not waiting until I'm 50, 60. Yeah. I guess that's really the goal. So maybe if we put it in the passive income terms.
You knew where I was about to hit.
It's probably
if you
like.
Pause then, I was going to hammer you with that.
It's probably like 500K net passive income. So
beautiful.
It sounds scary. It sounds unachievable, but I think the heavy accumulation early, it's all purposeful to try to get somewhere where I couldn't dream was possible, I guess.
For sure, man, for sure. I think it's a funny thing, dude, is like, I remember when I started out, I thought exactly the same thing. That I used to think $250,000 net passive was such a crazy, unachievable goal, right? And then you hit, 60 and then you hit 100 and then all of a sudden, like, it snowballs and it gets closer and closer. And it's a funny thing of, even with what you've built so far, and you still sort of say it's almost like a throwaway, like it seems like so far away. But the crazy piece is like the size of the portfolio you've built and the way that it compounds, grows, builds, the velocity of money, the speed and momentum that gets built from acquiring a large portfolio so quickly. As that snowballs and builds and keeps going from strength to strength, it becomes so much closer. You know what I mean? It comes so much closer and becomes feeling so much more normal. And I remember Jimmy was the same thing, right? So Jimmy, because that's Jimmy's next goal as well, was that. And I remember when he said it, he's like, it just feels like it's so far away, but that is what I ultimately want. And now, like, he could go through the sell down and pay down of some of his cash flow deals and pretty much be there. And he's only a few years in front of you in terms of the investment journey as well. So it's funny, man, when you build that thing and then let that momentum really build and that snowball pick up steam, man, almost anything's possible. So it's funny, in 5 years, we'll probably in 2-3 years, we might be having a different conversation again about the number.
That's crazy to think about. 250 was the number I think quoted from you and your investment property.
Was it?
Magazine
there you go. Yeah, you pulled that out earlier back when I
was
won it back in
rereading
the
that
day.
because that was one of the moments that I reflected on reading your story there in that snapshot when you had about 15 properties. So pretty cool.
Talk to me about that, man.
Yeah, so I think...
Because you said it was a defining moment for you.
Yeah, I may have mentioned it on stage, but it was off the back of Jimmy Rodder sending me some, I guess, info on different property podcasts and a few things there. That got me like reading up specifically on your story. But then I remember just thinking like, it was a year after or so I just bought my first place to live in 2019. Yep. And I was like, maybe not really questioning the decision at that point, but after reading what you had done and the purchase prices, I just wasn't even aware that people were buying properties for $200,000-300,000 when I went to buy my first house in 2019. Yep. So seeing the values and how yours had changed and how quickly you had done it on a lower income, I was just like, it was amazing to me back then. And I think that was where I started consistently, consuming property information, as many different things as I could read. Not so much taking action. I think it took a little while to feel comfortable, like after reading kind of your story and really cemented in my mind that it's what I wanted to do. Yeah. I was always attracted to property growing up, seeing what my parents were interested in and what they were attempting to do. But then seeing how you had done it, I had never thought that was a way to go about it. So then, that really kind of piqued my interest, and I was like, I should be approaching this differently. But yeah, and then how your story exploded after that's even more crazy. So
I appreciate it, man. It's a funny thing, hey. Like sometimes we get inspired by different journeys and different journeys and pathways we see other people have gone down, and sometimes it completely changes the direction of our thinking around it. And I had very similar things, man. Reading other people's stories and seeing other strategies and whatnot, and it really started to formulate and sort of cement in my mind. how you really could go about property. And then I started obviously all my different little strategies that I tried out as well. But man, talk to me about even in terms of like your family and your parents and your upbringing. Obviously from a Greek background, they all love owning property as well, right? It seems to be massively in the culture too.
Yeah, it's in the blood.
Yeah.
I don't think it's learned; it's just part of it.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, I guess very traditional thinking from what my parents were trying to do. Very big on owning their own house and trying to pay that off quickly. That kind of thinking from a younger age. But growing up, moved to a few different houses, saw them pick up a few investment properties. My dad loves doing renovations, learning things, tiling, doing all that stuff himself. So I kind of observed that, would come along to the properties along the way, and just subconsciously started being exposed to that. Things go well, things go not so well, and I think that kind of shaped my view on property into my 20s. But it was still along the thinking of, okay, how can I buy the first house? I'm going to live in it. It didn't really, even come as a thought to start with an investment property, which is very different to my current thinking of rent vesting as a pathway to get where you want to be quicker. But yeah, always just loved property. Always loved, walking past properties with nice gardens, tree-lined driveways, all that stuff. And in the back of my mind, I was like, I want to aspire to get something like that. But how to get there has not been, was never really clear for me growing up anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in terms of like awareness of finances and stuff growing up, largely unaware, blissfully unaware of, how what it looks like as a kid growing up. I think for me, a kind of moment, which is a bit weird, is, looking back and reflecting, I realized my parents sacrificed a lot to allow us to do sport. I played a lot of tennis almost every day of the week at one stage. And in my teens, I became aware of like the financial kind of burden that was, brought on them. But so I guess for me, that was kind of a turning point where I was like, okay, you do have to be a bit careful with your money or strategic, because we're not really, we're moving around houses, but there wasn't like a big change in scale or anything like that.
Yep.
So I was aware that they were putting a lot of effort into investing, but I wasn't seeing big material results. So I guess that kind of through a period there almost put me off maybe a little bit of taking on the investment properties and stuff like that, because it seemed stressful, hard, challenging for my parents. So we didn't really openly talk about numbers, talk about cash, finances, things like that. I think that was more gained from taking on like jobs, mowing, letter dropping, all those things in my mid-teens and stuff like that. But yeah.
How hard did they push you to work, like you were saying, around like mowing lawns and all the rest of sort of stuff, doing letterbox drops, all that sort of stuff as a teenager? How hard did they push you in terms of getting into work early and young? And did the old boy take you to renovations and stuff as well?
They did push very hard, like that stuff though. Like, you don't just get money for nothing. Like go and mow the lawn, do all these things. Like my dad was very much like that, and I definitely appreciate it more now. I wish I did more jobs for them growing up, but yeah, like that was early days, like letter dropping. I think as soon as I could work, I may have been 14, 15, doing assistant tennis coaching straight to IGA as soon as I could work, 4 or 5 years there. So it was always, it was always important for me to earn my own money. And my parents made a point of that, just get things for free. You've got to work for it.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's good. And so over this journey, just to dissect a little bit into like your parents' stuff, like I know you said you didn't really see any real material gain out of anything they actually went out there and did themselves. How did you find, like how many investments did they buy over their lifetime, do you know? And like, did they have any big wins?
I think the way I remember it, obviously over a long period of time, is the thing that stood out to me was more so it was like one at a time kind of thing.
Okay.
It was, you acquire an investment, some of them were apartments, and I guess over time you pick up on the conversations, hearing about they're not doing much, or, sometimes a quick win here with a renovation and sale, but it wasn't consistent and the strategy was constantly changing. So I didn't know any better at the time, but they're just observations that I kind of reflected on as I got older. And was like, all right, the one thing that stuck out to me actually is, we used to speak about this all the time, is just avoiding apartments. It was the big apartments, the massive towers, and getting an apartment in there, and that kind of scared me away from that, which is definitely a plus. I was always going to property with the mindset of house.
Yeah.
And my mum and dad drilled that into me as well.
Yeah.
Whether it's buying or wasn't the reinvesting necessarily, but at least it was avoiding the apartments.
So how did they feel when you started getting into an investing? I know I'm jumping forward a little bit with this, but how was the parents' take on it of getting into investing, taking on a fair bit of investment debt? Because obviously, like, we're talking nearly 5 million in the kitty now, owing to the banks. Like, how did they feel when you started racking up at your first mil, 2 mil? How was that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're even aware of that now. That'll probably scare them off if they listen to this. But no, I think they were aware of how quickly I was trying to do things. But because I spent that long time consuming material for so long, like, I wish I took action quicker, but I had spent such a long time confirming that that was what I wanted to do, and that with the right properties, the right yields, and all those things, it's good debt that they were kind of, I had conversations with them about it and everything, and they were generally supportive. Like, we know if anyone's going to do the research and do the right thing and not get screwed over, it'll be you, and seeing and learning from them as well. So now they're pretty comfortable with it.
Yeah, beautiful.
I think heading towards starting a family and those things, they're like, well, just, make sure you're
I
aware
getcha,
of that. Don't dig yourself too big of a hole that something can go wrong. But yeah, that's fine.
Mate, I think it's cool. Just before we I digress here, before we dive into your journey, which I'm about to hook into now, I think it's really cool, man, of like, they've sort of helped put you on the investment route of like thinking about property, thinking about investing, whether it's the primary residence or the investing or whatever it is. But man, I think it's really cool because funnily enough, your parents actually bought before you did. Because I remember you weren't in the position, you and I chatted, and then your parents came over. I remember speaking to your mum and dad and having a little strategy session with them and buying them, obviously a couple of deals a couple of years ago, which we literally discussed in a strategy session this morning, going through the sell down, because both of them have now doubled in 2-3 years, whatever it is. And so I think it's really cool, man, that like, you've then helped push them into this investing route as well. And what else can they do with their money, get their money working for them, before they hit the retirement as well. So I think that's really cool, man. I think it's worth shouting out as well, because I think there's a lot of people, they kind of maybe don't put that impetus back or like try and help their parents. And not all parents like want to take it on. I personally I tried helping them a couple of times. It just didn't end the best for me with the avenue that I went down with it. But with, especially from that, they've had that investing background. They've gone at it before, but they haven't potentially seen the wins as much as over their lifetime of investing. And then you've consumed all the content, learned the things that you think make the most sense, backed people that you think have the qualities, that are going to get the results as well, and then helped put them into deals, which is literally, like we said, we're in the process potentially of taking them back to market, and potentially, we're pretty much doubling sale price in terms of what we paid for them as well. So, man, I think that's really, really cool that you were, it's almost going like full circle, and now like they're kind of getting to the end of their journey and setting themselves up for the final piece. And you're, firmly in the midst of building the empire, man. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I was a bit scared, like, because usually I would mention things and they're very, conservative and stuff, but the fact that they actually took action really quickly and trusted me, I was kind of had a bit of a, oh shit, I hope this works out. So I wanted to be first. I wanted to be the scapegoat or whatever. The test dummy. Guinea pig. So I'm very thankful that it worked out well, but I was already so confident at that point. I told them, look, like, be comfortable in everything doing this, but this is exactly what I'm going to do. I just know you guys are in a position to do it. So please at least consider it. And they were like, yep, let's do it. And they are so grateful for, what you guys found for them, and for that I put them on that path at least. And I was watching along being like, oh, that's what I'm in for. Like, oh, this is really cool. But I'm glad it happened like that. Very happy for them.
Were you actually positioning them as a test dummy just to make sure that you weren't going to get there?
I hope they don't think that. Mum and Dad wasn't the case.
Right? Definitely. We might have to omit this podcast from going to the oldies. But mate, no, in all seriousness, man, it's hats off to you, brother. You've done well. Obviously, like, they've done exceptionally well now too, and what you've built has been massive. So, mate, let's dive into the journey. Man, talk to me about the first property. First property obviously being the primary residence.
Yeah, so after, I think it was my 4th year of full-time work, I'd started accumulating enough money, deposit type money, 500-600K properties. And I was like, in the lead up to that, still doing general research, but it was all about, still living near where I grew up type thing. Like, oh, the family are all there. Like, I should buy a house soon. But for me, the thought process, just to be transparent with everyone, was like, okay, I'm looking in Vic. What's the first homeowner stamp duty concession? Like, all these other things driving the decision rather than getting the right house or what will grow. Like, that wasn't even a thought in my head.
Can I ask a question real quick? Yeah. Oh, so that you didn't even have that thought in your head at the time. So you weren't thinking at all from an investment mindset with this. No. You hadn't been consuming any content. This was just like you went out to buy your first home.
More like looking on realestate.com and stuff like that, or nothing of the nature of what you've done.
Yeah,
Maybe
okay.
really, really generic type stuff like buy a house, you should invest in property, nothing specific.
That was the same as me when I bought my first place as well.
yeah.
So I was just curious. I was curious.
So that was 2019. It was April 2019. I was working FIFO at the time to SA. So I was kind of negotiating while away. It was a little bit stressful. Now I look back and it's funny that was stressful, but it always is. That's just the process.
Of course.
You're taking on a big debt for the first time. The property, my mum actually sent it to me. She's just like, look at this. I wasn't specifically like actively hunting. And I was like, hey, this is the right time. That house looks like good value. I've grown up in this area. I know the value of houses. It was okay for that area, 20 plus years in that area. So I felt like I was starting to get a finger on the pulse for it. Anyway, it was a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-garage, probably like a battle axe type setup, the front one, the original.
So you were on the front one?
I was on the front one, the original. They'd renovated it, and the couple had built a larger, newer home behind that. So I paid $600,000 for that, which was $1 below where you start having to pay.
With the first time, right.
It was the range was 600 to 750. It's all depleted at 750, at 600. So when we were negotiating, they were I think set on like 620 or 630. The agent's like, no, you're not going to get it. And I was like, no, I'm not paying $1 more. I've always
because it was like 600,000 and $1, right, to like 750 or something like that, was it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in my head, I was just like, it happens to be there. I'm going to fight super hard for this. Probably thanks to Dad for all the negotiation, watching him negotiate over time markets and everything, but stupid in the grand scheme of things, right? I know that. But still funny because I was so firm in the negotiation. It actually went well and they...
For sure.
The hard 630 became 600. Got that house.
Well done.
Super stressful. I remember, I think it was you with the story where you've had some issues with was it the conveyancer or not, something happening with CGT or something, and I related to that because... my conveyancer at the time was telling me that I wasn't eligible for whatever particular reason. I can't really remember for the
whichever grant you were going for.
Yeah, for that stamp duty. And I was betting on it, so I was like, oh crap, I have to pay this $30,000 or whatever. I ended up calling like the government group that do the concessions, and they're like, let me talk to them. Like, you are eligible, and so I had a moment there where I had to communicate and share things and kind of battle with the conveyancer with zero knowledge. But when the gut was.
Oh, you're talking about the example that I had with the CGT with the accountant back in the day.
Yeah, it was similar. Sorry. Like I was pretty much told you won't get the exemption.
Not available.
You're not going to get it. Like, and I was like, what the hell? That goes against everything I've read. Looked into it, made it happen, but scary. So being more careful after that. So that's it. 2019, I moved in there eventually and was living there doing FIFO over interstate, and that was shortly before kind of COVID happened and became pretty miserable living on my own in that house there, and it didn't matter so much that family just moved to Queensland and everything, and I was like, oh shit, should I have bought this house? Should I have been renting? What am I doing?
So mate, talk to me about that house then and that deal. You paid 600 for it, 2019. How long did you stay in there before you moved on, or like investing wise, like how does the journey start from here?
So I lived in there throughout 2020 COVID. I relocated to SA through work for a little bit. It wasn't really there. Was considering renting it out and moving to Queensland to join the family. One of the people that moved to Queensland around 2020. Everyone hates us, but hopefully everyone's forgot about that. All good.
End of 21.
Anyway, I was the last one. I looked around, friends moving on, no one living where they grew up anymore, and I was like, this is a bit shit. So I'll look to rent it out and figure out what to do in Queensland. Funnily enough, in 2021, when I moved, that area was starting to peak. People moving out of the city, the Mornington Peninsula was one of those areas that picked up. So getting harassed by sales agents being like, we can get you 850, 900. And I was like, whoa, in 2 years, that's crazy. Left it, first house, I'm going to keep it forever. That was the mentality at the time. So, moved to Queensland 2021. Lived with the parents for a bit until I figured out whether I'm renting or buying. Spent a long time looking in, sunny coast Brisbane. Ended up actually landing in Brisbane in 2021 and bought a house at the end of 2021. So around 2 years after moving into that original house.
And this was a primary residence again?
That was a primary residence, and that was $1 million.
Okay. On the dot again?
Yes, on the dot. Something with those.
You like round numbers,
that's really
don't you,
bad,
mate?
isn't it? You're meant to go like a 1 or 2
Yeah,
over.
you got to be somewhere. You got to be somewhere.
It's too messy for me. Neat, clean freak, neat freak.
That's it, man.
So
you would have freaked out with the way we negotiate and the prices coming across to you.
What are these? No, it was so that was.
So Brisbane, $1 million.
That was like a very spontaneous purchase, which is the stupidest thing you can do with property. I just got lucky; it worked out. funny story there. I knew how much I could borrow. It was up to about 1.2, 1.3 million. And I had told myself, I'd be silly to max out. Lowest interest rates, they'll probably go up, all that stuff. But $1 million. And I thought I was going to an inspection. I thought I was going to the final inspection, but I'd read it wrong. It was the auction day. So, idiot. But ended up just making that decision and being like, I won't get it. This is so bad when I'm retelling this story. But in my head, I was almost like not ready to buy a house, but auction, you can't renege once you go. So I had said $1 million because I was sure that was I felt like that was a really good deal. The auctioneer was kind of saying, no way, it's not going to go below 1.06. The developer, had sold all the others for a lot more. This one had one less garage space, like the ugly duckling a little bit. But anyway, that went ahead, and all of a sudden I got the auction. I was like, am I happy? Like, is this good? So that was like a 4-bed, 2.5 bath, 1 garage townhouse, pretty central to Brizzy City. And then I kind of just moved in there, and shortly after, rates started going up. I moved to a Brisbane-based job, took a bit of a haircut on the pay away from mining. So I had done that for about 6.5 years of FIFO/residential as a mining engineer, and found myself unable to save $1 as interest rates went up. Had the 2 properties, had the initial PPOR that became a rental. Looking at that alone, like, that was quite negative because it, cool, it was a nice house to live in, but it was the absolute wrong investment property. And that, I see that with my friend group a lot, and we talk about it. I talk about it with those that want to. I don't push it on anyone. I try not to, but it's a very common thing. Everyone in their friend group would see that as well. Like, you get a house, things change. You think you're going to be there for a long time. You're not. And your instinct isn't to sell it. It's to rent it out and try and do something different. Yes. And that was just such a bad move, because then the prices started actually coming backwards for that first house I bought.
Post-COVID, when in COVID you were achieving maximum prices, and then obviously post-COVID they started falling off
Rates
again.
went up. So I'll jump ahead if it's all right to try and sell that one, because I actually tried to sell that before the Brisbane property, and the reverse actually happened. So in 2022, another defining moment. I remember it was a beautiful sunny day. I was like, finally, I'm going to call APS. Jimmy on the phone, just psyching me up. I was at this oval. I think I was doing some exercise or something. I don't know what it was, but I was ramped up. He was psyching me up, saying, "What the hell are you doing? If you're stuck or whatever," because I'd spent a long time trying to get loans and get moving it by this stage. This is 2022. I couldn't do anything. All the brokers were trying to work things out. We just couldn't do anything. And he's like, "Why are you holding on to the Mornington house?" And you seconded that in a 15-minute phone call to you sometime around there. And I was like, because I could have sold it for more a year ago. Such a stupid thought. Heaps of people have it. It's just that.
For sure, man.
Is it like an ego thing? I don't know what it is. It's like, but in 2 years I could have made this much. The prices come down. Maybe I can wait it out and it'll go back up. But it's the whole opportunity cost thing started.
Yeah, man. I think it's a mix between like regret and ego, and like also like a novice approach to investing.
100%.
And sometimes like you got to cut the losses when you realize. And the thing is, as long as you still go up, as it's still up in value, you're still winning, right?
Yep.
But it's like sometimes, man, like it's so hard. We actually were having this conversation this morning at Brekkie. The timing of the top of a market is so hard to call exactly, and especially when it was something like COVID, and this kind of looked like it was going to keep running forever. When in all reality, man, like there was always kind of going to come a time where it came off the boil, and the areas that were significantly benefiting from that were going to come back. Not that dissimilar, realistically, to something like a mining boom. It was actually like a COVID boom that happened, and then if there were areas specific to that, and then what we saw was a lot of people move back out of those areas, back to the major CBDs and cities and whatnot. The drop may not have been as rapid as what a mining boom might be, but it wasn't that dissimilar with the way that it moved. So it's man, it's a mix between I think all those different things sort of together, making it really hard to stomach the loss. And I think that goes back to that. We all feel the difference of a loss. Like even myself with, man, there was a couple of properties in COVID that I could have sold for more than what I've just sold recently for in Sydney, in some Sydney outskirt markets. But I've made the decision that they've served their purpose. I don't need them anymore. They've still performed exceptionally well, but I don't think that market's going to do anything significant in the next little bit. So I'm going to get the cash out, clear the debt, and move on. And but even then, man, like I still look at it sometimes and go, he's going to come back to this or this or this or whatever. And it's just like, at the end of the day, man, I want the money back out. I want to get rid of the debt, and it's not in my mind going to continue performing. But it's still a hard thing to stomach, man. Like no one likes to lose, but at the end of the day, it's all part of moving forward. It's all part of the velocity of money, and continuing on the journey as well. So it's very, very natural, especially when you're that early in the piece as well. It's very natural.
Yeah. But so I'm glad I'm here because I just want to keep telling everyone, like, opportunity cost. That's the biggest thing for me now. Every decision you could be doing something else, weigh it up. But it doesn't matter if you're going to lose money. You could lose a lot of money, but if you can make more doing something else, and that's going to benefit you in the long run, you should do it. So I wish that back then I was thinking along those lines because very happy with how everything's going now, but also hard on myself. So looking back, I feel stupid for thinking that way, and it would be nice to, have done it differently. It's the way it is now. That's fine. Hopefully other people can just listen to this and not be so proud or whatever in your decision. Just, accept that you could have done things differently and actually do something about it. Not be stubborn for the sake of being stubborn and what could have been and all that stuff. It means nothing. Taking action is more important. So
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Dude, proud's probably a better way to put it rather than ego, actually.
I think
when you think about it. Yeah. Because there's so much ego of that. It's proud of not wanting to sort of cop the loss on that side and hoping it would come back to us. So, man, that makes sense, dude. That makes sense. So you've had the chat with Jimmy, walking around the park, doing burpees or whatever you're doing down there.
Some sprinting exercise.
Okay.
I was revved up. He made me see the light, and I think I doubled down my effort. Then I was like, I spoke to you shortly after just to be like, hey, what do you think I should do? Do you think I should sell this house? And for you, it was just you've seen this thing 1,000 times. Like, what? Yep, sell it. If you're stuck and it's doing something, it's gone backwards, just bloody sell it.
Yeah.
So I actually tried to sell it at the end of that year and into the start of next year. So moving into 2023, not even a bite. It was so bad, the market at that point. Rates at the top. I couldn't even get an offer near what the agents had suggested I could get. So it wasn't even a take your losses. I literally couldn't get rid of the thing. So that kind of, it just really put me off for a little bit. It definitely dampened the spirits for a bit because I physically couldn't do anything at the time. I was working in Brisbane City now, still as a mining engineer, and relatively like a good salary, sure, but a bit less than what I was doing FIFO and home more, so expenses higher.
Yes.
That actually made a difference being home all the time.
For sure.
It's surprising. But living in a biggish house on my own at the time, and I just couldn't save money. I couldn't show or do anything at the time to get a larger borrowing capacity. So it was like just gone through that terrible sales process. And then I started revisiting the idea of selling the Brisbane house, now coming up to 2 years of ownership for that. And I went on a holiday to Greece with my dad, and we were just tossing around ideas, and I was getting frustrated for some reason. We're just sitting in Greece. I'm like, why the hell am I holding on to that thing? Like, I really want to, at this stage, like every waking moment, I was thinking about how to grow a property portfolio while being stuck.
100%.
Had that many conversations with Jimmy, APS in general, like Michelle being on the wait list. Oh, yeah, sorry. So I think at this point, it's been like a year and a half on the APS wait list where I hadn't shown you guys a pre-approval.
Yeah, you couldn't actually buy. Yeah.
So the attempt was
I remember that actually.
Yeah,
sat there for ages. Yeah.
I remember I got to number 2 on the wait list. I remember Michelle told me, I was like, I feel for that other person as well. Anyway, so I changed tact and I was like, well, I'm going to move out of this Brisbane house. It's not the forever home. It's just a big anchor at the moment. I'll consider renting. I'll try something else. I'll do whatever I need to do. So that was properly the next action step, and that house sold within a month. Brisbane's doing crazy things, but at the time I ended up selling it for 1.265.
Yeah.
So after costs and everything, maybe I pocketed a bit over 200K. And that was just another defining moment or factor, I guess, that made me be like, wow, I picked this asset. $1 million in 2021 could have got me, made me a lot more money in another area, but I wasn't thinking that way. Even so, I ended up with 200 plus K in my pocket. Like, I can't do that with my job.
Yeah.
Like I did that with a property, the suboptimal property, like the runt of the ones around it and everything, and just
the run of the litter.
The whole rising tide lifts all ships type thing. It wasn't the best, but it still made a lot of money. And I was like, wow, if that can happen with that type of property that isn't a great investment, what can happen with the right investments?
For sure.
Unlocking that cash was straight away when it was like go time and I could get 2 pre-approvals and really triggered the process to get going for the first couple.
The
properties.
run-ups to that.
Yep.
Beautiful. So here we go. We're about to jump into the investment
we
run.
Yep.
Let's go, man. Let's hit it.
All right. So first two properties, regional Queensland. There was we were targeting around the 400K purchase price for both because I still had the Mornington property, so I was still limited in what I could do borrowing wise.
Yep.
This is kind of second or third tier lender type environment as well. So I started actually looking at selling Mornington while getting these first two, just for the context.
Yeah, right.
So the first one, it was for...
And this is, what, give us a time frame.
So time frame,
Yep.
this is signing contracts or acquisition around Jan-Feb 2024.
Jan-Feb 24. Okay,
Yep.
sweet. Beautiful, man.
Yep. So the first two both settled around May.
Okay.
And the first one was a 5-bed, 2-bath, 2-car park space, regional Queensland,
Yep.
415K contract price. There was a bunch of things that were raised in the building and pests,
Yep.
so I think it ended up being 403K after adjustments. Put the 15K back into it to do a lot of the repairs,
Yep.
so ended up net even, I guess, in what they were, the contract price. That was rented for 600, but it kind of immediately went up to 630 a week.
Yeah, I remember that was a bit of a stonker from a yield perspective. That was a
Yeah.
bread and butter too, man. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was like 1,100 square meter block.
Yep.
The idea was at the, and
Potentially
it's a site that you could potentially put a granny flat on.
Yep.
And that kind of was already rented out. It was kind of just doing its thing straight away.
Yep.
A little bit higher on the maintenance side,
Mhm.
but once again, learned very quickly through the past year and a half, 2 years to not stress the small things.
Yeah.
That's the cost of doing business. But
For sure. And having such a large rent as well, like at $660 a week, even if $100 a week went towards maintenance every year, which is $5,000 a year towards that, you would still be sitting at a $560 a week rental and 415K purchase. Like, it's still, massive for a bread and butter with extra potential as well. So that's solid, man. So that was May 2024. What do you reckon that val on that is now?
the val on that one's probably just over 600K.
Okay, sweet.
One of the bank vals as part of refinancing and stuff like that.
Yeah, sweet. So about 200K up in a little over 12 months.
Yeah, that's insane. I don't know. So Morg's got that one for me, and I think I may have within 3 or 4 months got a val or as part of selling my other property or the first home, and it was immediately like bank valued over 500 or something. It was crazy.
Hectic.
So
That's wild, man. That's wild.
insane.
Beautiful, man. And so you said you bought another one at the same time as well. Walk me through that one.
So regional Queensland as well. That was a smaller, I think, a 311, beautifully renovated little cottage type looking house. That one was rented out for $470 per week.
What'd you pay for that one?
$390 for
Paid
that.
$390.
Yep.
Sweet.
These were all at 80% LVRs as well, just because I had obviously a bit of a kitty of cash from the sale of the PPR and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was always the objective. It was get some of that back and go really hard, but start at the 80% LVRs.
Yeah, sweet. And that was rating $490. You said.
Yep.
Beautiful.
So 470. Sorry, it recently went to 490.
Okay, so. Okay, cool. Man, that's a pretty strong yield straight off the bat as well.
Yep.
For bread and butter, I love that. And then in terms of valuation now, man.
That one's around the 550.
Okay, sweet.
Yep.
Again, 12 months, a little over 12 months, called 15 months.
Yep.
390, 550, man. That's 50% up. Love it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Beautiful. Man, how did it feel of being out of the game for so long? Right? So you were trying to buy for so long and then you're out of the game for so long and then you bang out 2 deals in circa May 2024. How did that feel, man, of finally being able to get a taste from the investment side?
Yeah, super satisfying.
Yeah?
Like it just cemented again that I was doing the right thing because I could see, I had visibility almost in a very short time of the growth those properties were having, but also the yields were really good.
Yeah.
So while hanging on to that Mornington house and looking at them side by side, I was kind of just like, why the hell have I still got this thing where I just got 2 properties for what the sale price of that is earning? I think just one of those properties, the first one was renting higher than the property in Mornington.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
It was
hectic.
costing me $1,000 a month or something.
Yeah.
Negative.
Plus it's had 200 grand growth, or one's had 150,
Yeah.
60, one's had 200,000 worth of growth.
So I was just
In 12-month window, as well as having
Everything
a
happening.
significantly better return.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything was just cementing everything that I had thought while I
Yep.
was stuck. Convincing myself that it was the right thing, and it was just every
just wasn't.
every settlement or thing that happened was just further confirming that I was doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Beautiful, man. I love that, mate. I love that. What's the time frame from there of you've done these first 2 deals,
Yep.
regional Queensland, May 2024. What's the timeline then to the next one, to investment number 3?
Yeah, so I think around when those were settling, I actually sold the PPOR in Mornington.
Yep.
So I ended up making.
So you did get rid of that as well?
I did get rid of that. Second attempt. A bit luckier than the first. So in my head, I told myself it would high eights. The agents were saying it may get up there, but I ended up selling that for $840.
Nice, man. Nice.
So still, once again, in the grand scheme of things, can't complain. Like, really good. Just obviously hindsight's a beautiful thing. And it was like, yeah, cool. Could have had that years ago, but moving on, the whole thing was the opportunity cost. Like, get rid of that, go harder. That was all I wanted to do.
100%, man. I think one of the other things to take into consideration with it as well was the cash flows being so low, like you were saying on it. Like literally these ones you bought, the one you bought at $390 had a higher rent per week than this one that you owned that was $600. But you paid $600, now worth, what did you say you sold it for? $840.
Yep.
So like at that sort of money, you're getting a higher rent on something that's literally half the value, and you're getting more rent on something for half the value. We talk about cash flows, and also like we throw in the idea around creative lending. Just a little shout out to School of Property. We talk about creative lending and really how to work the game as well, man. And like, having yields like that in the portfolio versus, like you said, the terrible yield on that other one that was just an anchor for you. When you know how to, build things properly and then you put the right deals in there, you're obviously retaining borrowing capacity on the way through as well, which is so important to be able to keep building and scaling a portfolio like you've done.
Yep. Yeah. So, so I guess the timing from that settled around when I was probably signing contracts for number 3 and 4.
Okay.
So similar to the first, but I had, I guess, starting to get access to some better lending with the settlement of that property.
Yep.
And those next 2 settled in August.
Okay, sweet. Can I ask one thing real quick before we jump into them? How did that feel to sell both primary residences? So did you sell them both in the same year? Within a year of each
I
other?
think they settled within like 7 months of one
right.
another. So at that point, it just took the frustration at myself was more at how long it took for me to
get rid of them?
Get to doing it.
Okay.
Like, I felt like it was the right thing to do for a while, but I just put it off. Just didn't do it for a while.
So did you get relief from it, or was it enjoyment?
Definitely relief. Yeah. Definitely like it matters so much less. At the time when you buy something, you think you may have a bit of an emotional attachment. I didn't for Brisbane. Maybe more for Mornington.
Of course.
And I think it was even like the throwaway comments from grandparents and stuff when they hear you bought a house, like, oh, make sure you never sell it. Just things like that. They float around in the back of your head. And some comments from my grandma.
Make sure you never sell it.
Not wanting her to know that I had sold it. Yeah, just like things like that. But anyway, silly reasons to not, to at least put off selling things. I just felt really good. I knew it was the right thing. Awesome. We'd spoken about it a few times and I had way more visibility of the path towards, financial freedom and the future that I want to build and not be reliant on the 9 to 5 forever. I started to feel like this, I could see it kind of unfolding. Had the cash reserves, more cash obviously came back after the loan, paid off and selling that. And I was like, wow, I can keep going this. And if I keep replicating these results, hurry up and, get this thing moving. Hopefully I can play out a mini version of, Sam's story or something like that.
Well, mate, you say a mini version, bloody hell. What I did in probably in year like bloody 10, you were doing in year, I guess it's year 3 from when you started as well. So, that's cool, man. That's cool. So do deal number 3.
Yep.
Run it through us.
Number 3. So this one was a duplex.
Beautiful.
Yep. Regional Queensland for this one and the next. I paid $595. The rents of each unit were $480 per week. They're now $520 each side per week.
So you got $1040 a week rent coming in on that.
$1040 per week. Yeah, it's been 12 months for those ones. And
what's that sitting at? Like a 9% yield?
That is 9.1% yield on purchase. Beautiful, but that one surprisingly as well. Oh, I don't know if it's surprising or not. I guess rates are a little bit expensive perhaps, but maintenance is like non-existent. Like that thing is so.
Well, they're just bulletproof.
Positive compared to the other properties. It's actually crazy.
Little brick blocks, man, that are just like next to each other and they're just doing nothing. Like, you know what I mean? They're just so low maintenance. Yeah, they're hectic.
So I do love that. But funnily enough, I think that's grown a lot as well.
Yep.
Harder to get values for, but based on the yield where it is now, I think the value of that one's around the high 700s, 800 mark.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's nice, man. And a nice little cash flow injection into the portfolio, as well as having the ability to future split it if you ever wanted to, you know, strata title it as well, community title it, and put them on their own individual titles and be able to flick it off. So you kind of got those multiple plays on it, as well as obviously having that super juicy 9% yield in the portfolio, as well as the equity uplift and the potential to be able to split it and sell them separately as well. So, and in all reality, man, it's hard to know what you actually would be able to sell it for, because like you said, like high sevens, you know, 800,000. But that's at a 7% yield on a duplex in that area, super low maintenance. You know, man, as that market continues to grow and yields continue to soften on direct purchases on housing, there will come a time where, you know, and I don't think it'll be that far away, where you probably be able to sell it closer to 6% yield, because the housing market might drop to a 4.5% yield, you know, comparatively. So it'll become very attractive from that perspective as well. So it's cool, man, and desirable product in that area too. So I like it, mate. I like it.
I hope I'm not jinxing anything, saying these ones are low maintenance. It turns
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Not meant to have favourites, so I think that's still a favourite for me.
That's still a favourite. I get you, man. I get you.
Yeah.
Dude, no, I feel you, dude, because I got a few unit blocks, and some of them are have been a pain in the ass, but most of them are actually really good, because you got your bricks in between them. They're literally a little 2-bed, just this tiny little floor plans, and this very simple, very straightforward mirrored product. And the headache ones are actually always the little 2-story townhouse unit blocks. So you get the little ones up on top, but the ones that are just standalone, just bang, just dead basic, dead straight, man. They're the same as your duplex. They're so easy. Yeah,
love it. All right, so next other than that one being the favourite, rolling into the others.
Is that deal 3 and 4 or just 3?
That's number 3.
Do you count that as 2?
No, I count it as 12 rentals all up. But,
okay.
I count that. Almost could. They're like their own little things with the rents on them as well. But yeah, anyway,
100%.
so 12 rentals, 11 properties. Yeah. Oh. Anyway, so number 4, technically the way I've got it and ordered it is still regional Queensland. It's a 311. Mm-hmm. That one, that was $390K purchase price. Still settled in August 24. Mm-hmm. It was under rented at the time for a while, so the condition wasn't the greatest inside. So the plan was always, cop the under rent, and that helps secure it at that price, I guess, with the intention to do a renovation at some point between tenancies, which I'm doing right now. It's almost completed a renovation on that one.
Beautiful. And
I'll look to rent it out or sell it, or need to assess a few options there in the near future, just depending on what the next steps are. But yeah, so that one's about 600 square metre block as well, sorry.
And what does that rent for?
That's renting for $0 at the moment while it gets renovated, but it was $340.
And what should it be rented for post-reno?
I think high 400s or 500 a week.
Okay, sweet. And I reckon that'd be 500 a week post-reno, because I own in the same suburb, funnily enough. How much are you putting into the renovation on that at the moment?
I think that's looking at around 40,000.
40K.
I wanted to do minimal, but it had actually just too many elements of it had just deteriorated too much. Not just a paint over it type thing. Needed a new kitchen. Doing all the things and then leaving
we're checking this one out earlier.
And then the bathroom, it just didn't quite make sense. Not like enough to impact people walking in and being like, why did they? Stark difference between leaving an element like the bathroom and renovating everything else. It just didn't really make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
So I committed to, tried to apply a lot of the concepts in School of Property, assessing the renovations and how far to take it. And I think that was the right decision for that particular property.
Perfect. Perfect. I love it, man. And okay, so 390 purchase, 40K into the reno. What do you think market value on the back end of that'll be?
So I think that one at the moment is around 550, 560.
Yeah, sweet. I think, man, taking into account the fact the bathroom and the reno, and knowing when you bought this and values now for an unrenovated product, I think that might even be a little bit light on. I'd say at least like a definitely absolute minimum 550K, 550K plus on that. Just because, I know unrenovated products are in the low to mid fives. And if you've got a new kitchen, new bathroom, fully repaint, refloor, you're going to attract, and if vacant, you're going to have that attraction from strong owner occupier and first home buyer attraction as well. So I like it, man. I like it. Very, very nice. So, mate, that's property number 4 in your opinion, 5 in mine. But, mate, moving forward, moving on. You've done those 2 deals. The 4 deals now. You've done May. Within a 4-month window, 3 to 4 month window, you've gone from, the 2 sort of PPO. Or you've exited one of them, and then you've exited another one during this process too. So you've kind of taken a couple of little steps back to then scale forward with 4 deals in 4 months. That's pretty exciting. Very exciting. Yeah. Starting to, I think that's when it was like, I think we'd said 6, but let's push harder. It was because they first had settled in May. I was thinking January to December, and I'm like, that's weird. Let's look at what we can do May to May. Let's push this thing. For sure.
And that's where we were starting to get excited about pushing higher, I think. But
Yep.
just a little side note there. I think this is where I started to realize that, like with my work, I was starting to travel away a lot. And, the paperwork, the loans, doing all that stuff, you have to maybe introduce more like organizational measures for yourself and get a bit more regimented with this stuff, work out processes that work for you. Because for some people, they may find it frustrating or hard, but it's all part and parcel of it. And you quickly become comfortable with the process and it takes up less stress in your mind or whatever, because that is a factor to consider for people. This isn't, it wasn't super fun or easy at times doing that, especially multiple properties at the same time. It can be a bit of a drain and 50 million emails flying around and stuff like that. But
everyone's trying to call you.
Absolutely worth it. Yeah.
Yep. Man, I think it's a great point to make, because I think a lot of people, specifically when you kind of get into your creative lending routes, there's obviously more hoops you have to sort of jump through. It's not just like, oh, we're going to do creative lending and it's the same process and it's easy. There's a lot of different things that play within it. And man, the amount of times that I've had people say to me, oh, it's so much effort now, I have to go do this. It's like, fuck, mate, you want to borrow an extra $1 million or not? Like, do you want to put another $1 million out in the marketplace and potentially in the next couple of years turn that into $2 million, or do you want to just sit where you are right now? And it's like, it's all a relative thing, because let's say if that you could buy one more property by doing this thing, and then by buying that one more property, that went up by $100,000 this year. It's like, okay, how many hours do you put in a week, in a month, in a year to make $100,000? Right? And most people, the average Australian income's, I think, just under $100,000 these days, right? Yep. So for most people in Australia, that's a whole fucking year of work to make the same as having a few extra hours to go and do this thing to get you the extra money to be able to borrow this property. So when people carry on and start whinging about it, this sort of stuff, I'm just like, man, like there is zero sympathy, and there's what I have for you right now. And it is well below zero, because, man, I think it's one of the biggest things, man. I know you can relate to this, but if you can get access to debt, if you can get access to money and help take yourself to the next level, it's all part of the process. It can get, yes, and especially with yourself, you travel internationally for work, so it can get even trickier with it. But again, it's that thing that you need to manage and get through. And it's just that juggling act to get it done, to get you the access to allow you to build something like this, something significant, and it's one of those things where when people say it to me, I'm just like, this is blowing my mind even bringing this thing up, because it's like, I do whatever I need to do to get it, you know what I mean? And I always have. And that's the mindset you need to have to be able to win at this stuff. Yep. And man, it's just funny, those little things. You're just like, what are you talking about? Like, are you kidding?
I love that you said that and you got so animated saying it, because I was going to reiterate the same point. I'm like, you equate it to work. You're happy to go to work for 8-10 hours a day. Man. Like, you don't, the total equivalent may be that long spent doing the paperwork and everything to get an asset that's growing. Like, the difference is, you can't even compare. Mate,
and you think about that leverage component, right? And that leverage return with it as well. It's like, you can't leverage your hours in the day, of a direct work for work sort of hour, right? Especially for most average Australians, income, like average Australian incomes, PAYG income earners and all the rest of the sort of thing. You have to realize that this leverage point is such a complete game changer for what you're trying to do and what you're trying to build if you genuinely want to build something. So if that means you need to put a couple of extra hours in, whether it's a week or a month or whatever, to get this return, if you're able to make 100, or if you're able to get another 1, 2, 3 properties in the portfolio, you might be making another $200,000-$300,000 a year. That means you're doing 2 to 3x your income just for those few hours are set aside to do that. Like, let's look at a cost versus return analysis of that. Working a tenth, or let's say a 10th or a 20th of that time per week working on your portfolio, but actually, so put that in perspective, a 10th or a 20th of the amount of hours you put into work to make 2 to 3 times as much. But what about when it scales and that snowballs and goes to the next level of that? And then you pull out to go again, you know what I mean? And it's just like, man, like what does it start turning into? A 5x, a 10x return for a tenth of your time? Yeah. I don't know what the exact calculation of that is, something like 100x, I don't fucking know. But it's something substantial, you know what I mean? Like, so I think, mate, it's one of those things that people need to understand, that these components and this strategy piece and everything that comes to do with it, yes, it is a slightly different level of investing and a different level and path you're going to need to take. But the returns are so ridiculous when you get this thing right, like we've seen in your case and your results. So, anyway, man, you got me on the, you got me fired up, mate. Well done.
No, good. I need to hit about 3. I think that's my quota for getting fired up. Before I jump into 5 and 6, little segue on that, because once again, this, I think for me, anyone that'll listen or that's interested in the stuff I talk about it with, because like just the whole leverage thing and the perceived, I think some people perceive still property investing to be super risky, but then the same people in the next breath will talk about how they're investing in shares and picking stocks and doing all these things. So I went through all that. Yep. So by this stage of, last year, lost a lot of money on various shares, cryptocurrency, watching it go up, not selling, waiting until it goes down, crying about it, all that stuff. And so yes, everyone has different, opinions on crypto and different investments. That's fine. But I think to start with, when you're just making your savings, like you treat them so much more carefully and they're so much more valuable to you. So I think property is just a much safer way, because for 60, 100 grand, whatever it is, you can leverage that into something that can be safe depending on the selection, working with the right people and the type of properties you guys acquire for people. Feels very safe and secure compared to using that same dollars in the share market or something else. Like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But you test all those things when you start, joining the workforce, getting an income. You're trying to get rich quick, and it's just bloody not worth it.
I'm with you, man. It's a funny thing because I think there's two components to what you said there. The first piece, obviously, around the lower risk component, if you can get to that level, versus the volatility of, say, something like crypto or share market or whatever. And by the way, I'm not someone that understands all that very well, but I know a lot of people make a lot of money very quickly and lose them a lot of money very quickly. I don't like the volatility of an asset like that. That's one component of it. And then the other component is obviously the leverage piece. So when you be able to factor the leverage piece in and actually be able to leverage and scale a portfolio, a significant portfolio in a short period of time, man, it's an absolute game changer. The amount of clients we've seen, go from one deposit into 2-3 properties in 12 months, 4 or 5 deals within a 2-year window. It's insane. And then they've started from one deposit and then built a $2 million portfolio in that time frame. It's insanity, man, that you can do that in that time frame, because you're getting the return, your X return, relatively speaking, is typically on the value of the property, but really what you're working on is the capital that you first invested into it, which is a significantly smaller amount. So no, man, I love it, man. I love it. But we digress, mate, in a beautiful way. But if we bring it back to the portfolio and start talking about deals number 5 and 6, man. And we're just always doing double deal blocks, eh?
I've only done double deal blocks. Yep. That's what my
That's the way we
capacity
strategize
allows it to play out.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense, and it's a little bit faster for me to do it that way.
Yeah.
Could split it out, but yeah, so it's a bit more of a, burden or whatever, however people want to view it, but it's not for me. It makes the most sense. It's just maximizing that time and what I can get done. So, so on to 5 and 6 now.
Beautiful.
More emerging, different location here.
I'll say one thing real quick as well, man. Sorry to interrupt you. I think one of the other really cool things around doing double deals at once is a lot of people like to dip their toes in the water and just try one and see how it goes. But something that I really love, man, is the ability of, scaling that scale point, right? You think about it, if you've done a deal each time as opposed to 2 deals each time, you had 5 deals in a 12-month window, right? As opposed to 10 deals in a 12-month window. I say to a lot of people, and I've said this openly on the podcast before, my honest belief is that people should be doing 2 deals a year. If you've got the ability to do 2 deals a year, do at least 2 deals a year, because in a 5-year window, you're going to have a 10 property portfolio versus in a 10-year window. But if you carried that through that period and literally did nothing else, I'd almost guarantee you, especially if you bought with us, you bought in the right areas, first and foremost, like that portfolio is going to double by year 10 versus still building it in those final 5 years as well. So if you're able to do it, that's why I always push for, at least doing the double deals. Maybe not a double deal every 3 months like Big PD Contos here, but yeah, being able to push for that and go down that route and that avenue, it's a game changer.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, so number 5 was 422 with a pool, purchased for 426. And that one's renting for $540 a week.
Sorry, how much did you pay for that?
$426.
$426.
Yep.
That was in a new up and coming location, right?
Yep.
Go sweet. $550 a week rent.
$540 a week rent. Yep.
Go sweet.
800-900 square meter block, pretty big block.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's growing wonderfully. So that was settled in
Wonderfully.
So I think November, around November, December, something like that. Yeah, November. Yep. And that value now is around the...
That's settled in November, you said?
Settled in November. Yep.
Okay.
Around 600K now. Okay. That one's gone ballistic.
So we're currently in August. You paid $426 in November 24. Talking about the power of an up and coming location.
Yep.
Hand selected by APS. 426 to 600K val. So 180,000 up. What are we talking? We're talking circa 40%.
Yep.
So sub 12-month window.
On settlement, actually,
Yep.
because as part of this whole thing, there's
I love when
constantly-
people try and call me out online that's not possible. I had that just recently when I did the Both Sides podcast. They're like, oh, where can you do 20% a year? Motherfucker, I did it. And we did it in sub 12 months, doubled that amount.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, mate.
No, you're right. So by the time this property settled, I needed to get valuations. I was doing I was doing a refinance of the first couple of properties to a major lender at the time because, at the time, super high interest rate. I was stuck with my Mornington property, so I needed some extra equity to keep going at this point.
Which deal are you talking about this?
So this is around at the settlement of number 5 and 6. I was refinancing 1 and 2.
Okay.
To a different lender.
Makes
so
sense.
I had to get valuations across a bunch of the different properties. And that one actually came back at 520 or 518 or something before it's settled. Or like on settlement.
Really?
Yeah, that 426 one.
Hectic.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I remember seeing that and being like, well, I can't do anything about it right now, but it's just good to know. I was like, that's insane.
It's still wonderful.
It's just sensational.
I love it, mate. I love it. Yeah. That's unreal. So you're up nearly 100K by the time you settled.
Crazy. Yeah. Love that.
Beautiful.
And then the next one shortly after that, start of December. Okay. I think I've had 3 or 4 settlements like on my birthday on the 4th of December. This one was similar.
No way.
Always around there. It's weird.
Really?
I need to hurry up and make something happen now in preparation for December.
So get settled, settled by December 4th.
Need to sort something out. All right, so this one was a 422 again.
Okay.
Similar area to the first, 520K purchase price. The valuation for that one, I think conservatively I had 600 as well. It was probably
that's
more. I think it was more mid.
We'll run with 600, but it's more than that.
I think it's more.
And what's that renting for?
That one's 640 a week.
640.
Yep.
Okay, so you've bought it 426 renting for 540, 520 renting for 640. Both of them valed circa around about 600K-ish. The second one's worth more than that. But yeah, man, that's juicy, dude. And obviously that's in again December to August. We're talking a 9-month window. From a 520 to 600K. We're talking lows, so we're probably talking 20% up in that 9-month window as well. Yep. So that's juicy, man. That's very nice.
Yep, that's
very nice. How did you feel wrapping up running from the end of the year? So we're talking May 24 to December 24. We're talking a 7-month window. You've gone from one property, and then you've obviously, and I know you've sold the other one in the mix of that as well with Mornington, but you've gone from one property, all right, we've exited that, but then you've gone from effectively 0 to 6 in that time frame as well.
Yep. Yeah, pretty.
How you feeling heading into Chrissy?
It was good. I felt like, but I was still in go-go mode. I wasn't relaxing. Like, even though it was, actually, I remember getting frustrated because generally it's just a slower time. And I was like, what? I want to keep going. What's everyone doing? Holidays? No, but completely reasonable. Agents and everyone going away, Christmas time. I was getting a bit, antsy with wanting to keep moving.
Keep going,
because just everything, once again, supporting the momentum, the decision.
For sure.
Just wanted to keep hammering it. I was getting familiar with the extra managing work and the property stuff.
Yeah.
More comfortable. Wanted to just keep on chugging.
Yeah. So you felt great, but you still wanted more. We weren't done.
Yep.
We weren't done.
Well, I know that's what I'm trying to do. That's not enough. It's fine. It's really good. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But you've still, didn't want to get complacent. Didn't want to just stop there. Had the means to keep going. Need to keep going.
Did you settled investment number 6 on your birthday?
Yep.
Did you celebrate?
I think so. I think at that point they were happening so quick. It felt like too many celebrations, but maybe I can't remember how big the celebration was.
That's the one to celebrate. Surely that's the one to celebrate.
I was actually with friends, visiting friends in Vic. Okay. So it was pretty much a celebration. It was the birthday one, but in my head I was like,
Man, that's unreal. I love that, man. I love that. Man, in the spirit of hammering this out and the speed that you've acquired these assets anyway, investment number 7.
Yep.
Can I check something real quick here as well?
Sure.
You didn't include the SMSF deal in your numbers earlier. Is the SMSF deal the 11th deal?
It's the 11th deal.
Was it bought in the 12-month window?
Yes. So
and I consider a duplex, this duplex anyway, because we can title it.
We're going to say 12 and 12.
We're going to say 12 deals in 12 months. You know exactly where I'm going with this thing. Mate, there's a Fugazi and then there's the numbers, mate. There's the numbers of the numbers.
Don't lie. Yeah.
Numbers don't lie, man.
Right.
All right, beautiful. All right, everyone. So the title's now been changed. While you were listening to this episode, mate, I love it. 12 and 12.
Yeah.
Okay, no, mate. That's insane. Investment number 7.
Also doing that month by month, impossible as well. I can't even imagine the one by one. So it had to be the doubles to make it happen. It just
That's true.
Made sense.
It would have been impossible.
Yeah. So this one was around the start of the year. I think contracts very early in the year. Settled a few months in, and that was 7 and 8. I think settlement for one was delayed, so I've screwed up my order. Basically the same time. One of them in a similar area again to number 5 and 6.
Okay.
Yep.
So you've tripled down on the same area.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful.
And that was a kind of a split level parking underneath type situation.
Okay. Fancy.
Three bed, 1 bath, multiple parking, 1,100 square meter block.
Yeah, we were assessing this one earlier when we valued it this morning. The monster,
yeah, cool.
Nearly 1,200 squares.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yep. And that's was purchased for 480.
Okay.
Rented for 550 per week.
Yep.
And the value for that one now, even though it's been such a short window, I think is mid to high 500s.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Very nice, mate. Very nice.
Yep.
I like it. So again, we're talking circa 100K out. When did you say this one settled?
So that was, I can't remember exactly. It was March, April, around there.
Okay, sweet.
Yep.
25.
Yep.
Very nice. Very nice. So you've tripled down in the same area as well. Any issues or concerns for yourself personally about buying multiple assets in the same market? You know, a lot of people are like, diversity, blah, blah, blah.
Not really.
Go.
Not really. I think I happen to have a bit of visibility of some of the growth that was happening while acquiring a couple of those properties that isn't really super visible when you go scanning around
for sure
realestate.com and stuff. And it just gave me the confidence that it was still fine having multiple in the same area. It's easy in some ways. You have a bit, bit more of a finger on the pulse on what's going on.
For sure.
Property managers got things to compare to and things like that. So because I've already had, a portion of the portfolio in another area, I was comfortable with spreading around, but still, it's almost like that clustering, still diversifying, but having multiple rather than 12 completely different locations.
Yep, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. And it's one of those things as well, like when you consolidate, PMs at a time as well, you can go down to having a singular PM for 3, potentially 4 investments in the same area as well. It makes it so much easier. Even if you've got 2 in the same area, you got 1 managing both of them. It just makes it so much easier than having 12 different PMs for 12 different properties, which becomes an absolute nightmare. So, mate, talk to me about investment number 8. And obviously, we're doing the double batch. This would have been, again, March, April 25.
Yep. So the 8th one was 3...
Different area, same area.
Different area.
Different area.
So different area, up and coming market.
Yep.
First one in this new area. 3 bed, 1 bath, couple of car spaces. 600-700 square meter block, I think.
Yep.
And that one was purchased for 475.
Okay.
Rented out for 500 per week.
So
that one now I think is mid 5s.
Okay. Mid 500K vals, you reckon?
Yep.
Okay, sweet.
Still very recent, but pretty good pickup that one.
Yeah, for sure, man. So obviously a discount on the way in, and then market doing some heavy lifting for you as well in a new location as well.
Yep.
How are you feeling about the new locations? Excited about them?
Excited, yep. Trying to tamper expectations though, because different areas, because I'd seen just such crazy growth like on the spot. I'm making sure that's not my standard expectation
100%.
because that would be silly.
Yep.
But very confident and looking forward to the next few years in some of those spots.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. I love it. Man, deal number 9. And 9's and 10, right? Next up.
So 9 and 10. So these are more recent.
Yep.
Kind of wrapping up the end of the 12-month journey. One in a previous location. A bit more premium product, this one. So purchase price 720.
Yep.
422. Large block still, 800-900 square meters. Can't remember the exact number. But that one is rented for 700. But it should, based on what the market's doing, when that one comes up for renewal. It'll have a bit of a jump there.
What do you reckon? Like around 800,
Close to
850?
800.
Yeah. Nice, man.
Potentially upwards, but 800 if we
get
safe.
And market val, that's a 720K purchase, market val?
Market val on that one has to be 800.
Yeah.
So I don't have a bank val for that one, but it's...
Yeah, it's been going ballistic there, right?
I've been watching and closely watching all the others sold and what's going on around there, and I can't see it anyone getting their hands on that property.
Yeah,
less
for
than
sub 800.
Yep.
No, I love it, man. I love it. Again, similar, obviously, location to the others,
Yep.
but obviously a bit of a higher price point, being a more premium pocket, premium suburb, premium house as well. So I like that, man. I like that. Do number 10.
Number 10, $495K purchase price.
Location?
So further back down. So similar to location number 8.
Yep.
And my SMSF.
Yep.
Um,
That's the
in the
SMSF one?
vicinity. No, this isn't the SMSF.
Okay.
Sorry, I skipped over.
You skipped the SMSF.
We'll get back to it. It's like
We'll come back.
once again, it's the neglected sibling there sitting on the side, just because in my head it makes more sense to treat it separately. I don't know
fair.
why.
No,
I
I
mentioned
feel
that.
you
I
now,
don't forget it, but it's just yeah.
How you didn't factor into the numbers that we spoke about today, I think you do forget about it.
That's a good thing, isn't it? You're meant to forget about that one. I don't want to accidentally
No.
do anything with it and stuff it up, get in trouble. Yeah. So okay. So
Hang on, investment 10 before we go SMSF. Just go
before
investment
we go
10.
to SMSF,
So
we'll
495K,
finish
up and coming
495K.
market.
Yep. That one will the rent. It's getting released.
Yep.
So it'll be rented for around $480 a week.
Mm-hmm.
480 to 500.
Yep, beautiful.
To be determined. And that one, the val around 560 to 580. I think that purchase was way under what the market price should have been.
Yep.
Because it had some issues with the property. Some, I would say, a little bit more than cosmetic, some damage and everything like that. But that was kind of rectified and being fixed on the way out, which surprisingly means I have to use less of a maintenance buffer.
But it was still cosmetic. It wasn't structural. It was just like an extensive amount of cosmetic.
Just broad spread cosmetic damage that was going to cost a lot to fix, and potentially I still need to look at doing a couple of things. But I think that helped with the picking up that price there with the assumption, or it appeared to the outside eye, you'd have to spend a lot getting up to scratch.
Yep.
But not the case. So.
Beautiful, man. I love it. So what'd you say, about 560 or something, I think you said? Okay, cool. Beautiful, man. Now, to not neglect the unsung hero here, being the SMSF.
Yep.
Talk to me about the SMSF numbers. To round out the portfolio, mate, what a year we've had. Time frame on this one?
So this one was, I think this one was around March. So on paper between probably March, April.
Okay. Truly forgotten about. Yes.
Yep. Between, what does that mean? Between 8 and 9, something like that.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. So I probably forgot about that one. I think it's different folder structures, all this stuff. Who knows? Too many numbers swirling around the brain.
Too many numbers, mate. Too many numbers. Location?
Okay, so that's still kind of up and coming area.
Yep. Same as the last one or the other ones?
Similar, same as the...
Up and coming somewhere.
Yeah. Same as number 8.
Okay, beautiful. Yep, I get you.
Thinking back to the order I put in there. So another different regional location. Yep.
Price?
Price for that one, 500 on the dot.
500K.
Yep.
Going back to property number 1 and 2, right on the nose. Yep. 500K.
So $520 a week rent.
Uh-huh.
That one's a 4-bed, 2-bath, 2 garage.
Mm-hmm.
Nice big shed on it.
Nice and clean for the SMSF.
Super clean.
Beautiful.
Owner occupiers had lived there for a long time, done a lot of renovations, made it all really nice. It was super clean, tidy property.
Yep. Sweet, man. Val?
That one around mid-5s.
Mid-5s. Okay, sweet.
Yep.
Beautiful, dude. So we've wrapped up an 11 property acquisition here, which is actually 12.
Yep.
Man, I would love to know, is there any curly stories in there you want to share? 12 properties, man, in 12 months. Surely you've had something.
I expected more damage from some of the flooding and cyclones in one of the properties.
Yep.
So I had some leaking and roof damage. Scary for a moment there because, from the property manager saying, hey, water's actually coming into the house, things like that. I think Peter a few years ago would, oh my God, the world's falling down. What's going to happen? So I was ready to do the insurance claim. Didn't really come to that. Ended up only costing a few thousand for plumbers to fully fix that and sort that out. That was a potential curly, but I think I had to quickly get up to speed with not taking anything too seriously or worrying too much. Because it's not everything's going to go perfectly. So had a few underwater leaks pop up and water bills explode and come into the, $1,500 for a quarter type period and not have visibility of it until all of a sudden being hit with this massive
water bill
after the fact.
Yeah.
So growing, like a leak growing over time. Oh, these water bills are starting to get big all of a sudden.
And you get the letter from
blowout.
council going, yeah.
Things
we
like that.
suspect a water leak,
Yeah. So just things like that. Nothing crazy.
Yep.
But still, like, it's just, you can't always tell which properties will be the difficult ones necessarily. Like, some of them super easy.
It's funny,
others,
man. That's funny, eh?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll let you keep going.
Yeah, well, it's just a thing. Like, it's interesting. Some I don't even, you forget about them because it's just tenants being really good. Maybe they are fixing little things here and there.
Yeah.
But other ones, it's every week you hear about something, and it's just structuring the routine around it, getting all the property managers on the same page, getting them to handle the situations the same, consistency.
I also think that, man, that comes down to a level of experience around yourself, because like you would have had a lot of different property managers. Now, this is actually a bit of a takeaway for you guys here as well. And what will happen is, and sometimes you will just got property that will have a lot of stuff come up, right? But then there's also sometimes what you'll find is a property manager will just send you every fucking request that a tenant sends through. And what you have to understand is the way to save your head from exploding is knowing how to filter this shit. And sometimes you just get inexperienced PMs or just lazy PMs, and all they do is they get a request and they just send it on, instead of like saying this isn't relevant to the or they'll collate a list or whatever. You know, being that filter between you and the tenant, which is what their job is. And so what I'd sort of suggest in this scenario, if you get anyone that starts this, and everyone's had this right in their journey, especially if you start building a decent portfolio. The way that I used to do it is I used to say, look, buying this property, I literally like fully empty the kitty. I don't have anything. Check in with me just before tax time. Check in with me in May or June. If there's anything that's actually urgent and needs to be fixed from a safety perspective, then I'll do what I can, or I'll try and find the money. Otherwise, just bring it to me in like May, June, and we'll see what is actually warranted and relevant to do. And if they bring you one more thing, just go, hey, is this an urgent item? No. Well, remember, like I said, can you just bring it to me just in June and or May or whatever? And like that filtered system through that. And then you just, I literally just stopped answering calls, and I'd just send that back if it was anyone doing it again. And yeah, you need to learn to bring that filter in, and never feel like you're being rude or anything with it. In all reality, guys, you're just protecting your own headspace. Because the bigger that you build your portfolio, and there's nothing selfish in that, in protecting your own headspace, because that is what these guys are being paid to do. And sometimes they need to be coached in the way that it needs to be done properly. They obviously haven't been taught properly how to do their job. And sometimes you just need to do that little bit of coaching to protect your headspace, because the bigger that you build a portfolio, you get two of these people that are blowing you up for everything, for these tiny little things again and again and again, that it's going to seem like the journey is really, really hard. And it's going to seem like property investing is really, really hard and really, really stressful. And it's not. You're just not managing your property manager properly, and they obviously just don't know how to do their job properly. But you need to manage them effectively, so then you don't have this blowing up. And I guarantee you, there'd be 50% of the investors that are listening to this podcast right now go, holy shit, I've been through that as well. And this is it's easier than you think to handle, and it doesn't need to come across rude or aggressive or anything like that. It's just like, hey, this only needs to be done when it needs to be done. I currently don't have the funds to do it, because no one can have a go at you if you don't have the funds to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's simple, like with interest rates where they are, blah, 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 blah. Yep. If it's not absolutely vital, absolutely urgent, all the rest of sort of stuff, if it isn't a safety hazard, it's not going to get fixed. Yep. It's as simple as that. So I think that's really, really important. And one of the other ones, guys, that there's probably 25% of property managers love to try on, and so do tenants, is when they move into a property, they move into the property, and as soon as they move in, they go, oh, by the way, can we have 4 aircon units? Can we have this, that? Can we have a new pool put in the ground? You know what I mean? Just dumb shit. And you just like, no. You moved into the property, you know exactly what it is. Mr. PM, thank you very much can you not bring me anything like this ever again? Unless they're willing to pay the difference. So if you want an aircon unit, you want to pay an extra $40 a week, okay, no worries. I'll split the difference with you. Exactly. If you want to go up by $40 a week, I'll put in your aircon unit, because it's going to add value to your property and give them what they're looking for. But if they're not, well, they signed the lease on the premise of exactly how the property was in that condition then and there. So just remember, guys, these are the things that like will pop up at different times. Just prepare yourself for it, and when it happens, there's just the easy, calm way to approach it and to deal with it that is going to keep you from getting too stressed. Because my head used to explode with this shit, especially when the portfolio started exploding. So yeah, just something to be super aware of with that, guys. But Pete, anything else, nothing else real curly popping up outside of that?
No, I don't think so. Just some frustrations, like you're saying.
Yeah.
A lot of leases signed and immediate requests for 5 to 10K of upgrades and stuff like that. It's like, Jesus, I'm not
there you go.
wishing well of dollars to do this stuff. It's just surprised me a little bit, actually, some of that stuff. But like you said, it's a choice to get stressed about it.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's a choice to get stressed about it. We all know the way you can approach it, and it's working with the property manager, setting rules, and kind of, I think setting expectations early was a big one for me. Now I kind of, in kicking off the relationship with the property manager, say, hey, I'm quite busy even with work and other things. Could you please take care of these things up to this amount, send photos, I trust you, until proven otherwise, maybe, like
Well, if they
maybe
gotta
they break
send
the
the
trust
photos.
and then, you
Exactly.
have to move on maybe. But
For sure.
I think that helps clear that mental space, or at least you know that you have a system. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, make it work with someone else.
For sure.
And then just, preserve some of that mental space and don't let everything stress you out, because you won't be able to accumulate properties quickly and get where you want to go without, processing that stuff and managing it well.
I love it, man. I love it. Sweet, bro. Mate, anything else you want to throw in overall from the portfolio general in particular? Any other light bulb moments we maybe missed in there? Like any other good juicy stuff you want to pass on? 12 deals in 12 months. Absolutely epic journey. Yeah. Anything you want to throw in there?
I think for me, I've been tracking, or at least very aware of the portfolio and how it's progressing, the LVR, the rent, the expenses, and just making sure I'm comfortable with if it's a certain level negative, all these things, and just considering the time frame that may be the case for.
Yeah.
So often if you're acquiring properties quickly and you're doing LVRs, 80, 88%, etc., it may not be super positive straight away. That's completely normal. You can't expect it to be, but just you've got to work within what's appropriate for you, your income, all those things, and I guess making sure I've got cash buffers, all those kind of fundamental type things. I'm just tracking as I go. So I guess checking in on that, becoming comfortable with those things and comfortable with the debt, that it's the right debt, doing the right things. I think I'm exactly where I want to be right now. So just want to keep on chugging away. My partner Sophia is super supportive of what I'm doing, and she largely just leaves it to me, which is good. I'm like, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. As long as, do you trust me? Like all this stuff. So it's good to have her support. I like to try to slowly reel her into the discussions and get her familiar with it. So I think having the support of your partner is really important as well, or at least their awareness of what you're doing, and it's not causing issues and disagreements and stuff like that.
For sure.
But yeah, with the portfolio itself, just very appreciative of where I'm at, APS's role in that. Kind of take a moment every now and then to be proud of myself and that I've committed to pushing it so hard, even if it is a bit uncomfortable sometimes. But yeah, I still think it's one of those things. I took a long time to get comfortable with being ready to push this hard, and had the other properties, and when I sold them, it really triggered that process. But I just encourage people, I guess, to look at what's important to them, where they want to get to, and every time you go to complain about something, or you're not getting where you want to be, just consider the sacrifices, what you're willing to do to make it happen. The harder you sacrifice, the quicker you can get there. All those different things. It's all a big brain game to me. Like you're in control of your brain and how hard you want to push things, how much you let things stress you out.
For sure, man. Dude, I love it, man. I love it. It's a lot of like wisdom, I think, from that side of things, man, of what is possible and kind of what you've gone through as well, man. And so, man, I really appreciate you sharing. I know the listeners would as well. Man, a couple of kind of things to wrap up too, man. Like thoughts on School of Property. Obviously, you're a very early adopter within School of Property. You jumped into it very early as well. Thoughts on it, and how much did it change your vision? And it's actually really cool to ask this question for me personally, because you did it before you actually even started the portfolio. So like, how much did it change your previous set of thinking? Like, obviously you've been listening and following, my content and Scouting Australia podcast and APS for a long time, but how much did School of Property actually change your thinking? Because it was before you actually had proper liftoff in May 24 when you bought the first one.
I think the way it's all consolidated in there and doing it in like a logical format, it really just made. I had already spent so much time convincing myself it was the right things. It just, once again, further cemented everything and kind of showed me a bit more of the middle and end picture. So I knew the acquisition of the growth properties and a few of those components, but what to do after you start getting properties, the options you have, creative lending, the accounting side, some of those areas, because I hadn't started building the portfolio, were most important to me. So some of the sessions with, obviously, Nick, the accounting, lending in general,
Nick the Greek.
Like the SMSF type stuff, all things like that. Just super beneficial of wrapping it all together in a condensed window. I spent so much time, reading up on your journey, podcast, this, that, the other. You package it up in such a way where it's almost like undeniable logic when you go through it all. It kind of, to me, there's almost no other way to start. If you're not starting with a big business or anything like that, or you're just working, saving, you really show how it is possible for anyone to start, maybe at varying speeds. But for me, it was just, super useful, brought me the extra confidence I think I needed to really go super hard when I did start.
I love it, man, because it's the confidence plus the knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And I think knowledge breeds confidence.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things, man. And learning from someone who's done what you want to do builds that knowledge base, but then the actual execution piece coming in after it and being able to keep that moving in the right way, having the right team around you, like you said, with the accountant, with the brokers, understanding around how to actually maximize creative lending, obviously working closely with me from a mentoring perspective as well, and actually being able to put the turbochargers on the portfolio, man, it's like all those things sort of culminating into that one thing. But to really nail that home, guys, the knowledge breeds confidence, right? Having that knowledge base and really building on that again, that is what breeds confidence and breeds the ability to be able to do this, because you wouldn't have been able to do this without having that knowledge base. And then obviously also the confidence to back yourself to then go out there and do this and push this thing to its, to its absolute limit. 12 deals in 12 months, man. You're not doing that with no knowledge base and without the balls to back the execution piece that you knew was necessary for it as well. So, mate, I love it, man. It's absolutely epic. Now, to change pace one little bit from School of Property as well to obviously the mentoring phase, which is the next phase within School of Property that is available, that us obviously you and I one-on-one, and how we really, scaled the portfolio as hard as we did over the past 12 months. Talk to me a little bit about mentoring, man, how much of an impact that had on you as well.
Yeah, I think working with you and how many times you'd seen similar situations of some varying degree, it was just interesting to see, or at least, I would come to the mentoring sessions and come prepared, or what I think would be prepared with, I can only see these type of options, and seeing the way you think through things and how quickly you do that from your experience was super, super interesting. And I think it made it important for me to it gave me different perspectives for how to look at things. Like, you're always working towards your ultimate goal, and you kind of always bring it back to your goal and what you want to do, and break it down into like tangible steps to get there.
For sure.
So I think, it's more just like interesting and amazing seeing how quickly you work through things that I'm, questioning myself about and things like that. So I think it just further gave me the confidence and kind of cemented my trust in you and the team and everything as well. Yeah. It's been good.
I appreciate that, man. And I think we go back to the point before of knowledge and experience breeds confidence.
Yep.
And so when you bring stuff to me and you're thinking about these different things, but I'll look at your portfolio in a way of just obviously having seen so many before, and then how to actually, circumnavigate roadblocks that we're probably going to come up against and show the pathway. So we might go down this way as opposed to that way, because we otherwise would run into this roadblock. So we can keep moving it forward. And man, no, it's honestly, it's one of my favorite things to do is to work with people in mentoring that I really enjoy working with, because I know when I get my hands on that portfolio and I can actually show what is possible and guide the brokers and the accountants exactly the way we want to push things as well. When I'm able to sort of handhold someone directly through that process, man, results like this, like is what's achievable and what's possible if the individual is willing to back me. Because this is the one thing, man, I could give someone all the information in the world, which I've done before in the past. And it's actually a funny thing because I've had a few, not to have a dig at anyone, but I've had a few like old mates or old acquaintances from 3-5 years, 3-5 years ago that I spoke to about property and laid them the roadmap of what they wanted to do, what they should do, and they never took action. And it's funny because now they see the cars and the house and the portfolio, the sizes and everything. Now that's almost like that's the verification. They're trying to reach back out. I haven't spoken to them in like 3-5 years. Oh man, can we have a chat about property? It's like, dude, I gave you the roadmap 3-5 years ago. You didn't take action on it. Like I'm working with people that are going to take action, because that's what juices me up. And not to say I've been old mates or whatever, like you know what it's like. You drift away from people, you don't speak to them, and all the rest of it. Come back through and having that chat. It's like, the commitment piece, man, is what gets you here. And so like with the mentoring side of things, it's again exactly the same thing. Someone I get on well with and someone that I know is going to actually take the action and try and achieve those big outcomes. Those two components, man, like, yeah, I'll drive you to the level like this, man, like we've gone this year as well. So it's exciting, dude. It's exciting, and man, I'm super pumped to keep pushing your portfolio forward, man. And yeah, it's been awesome to be on the journey with you. Pretty crazy. We're 18 months into when your mentorship first started, and obviously, yeah, everything you've learned and applied as well, mate. So it's epic to see, man. Epic to watch. Any final words from yourself, mate?
No. Just very appreciative, looking towards the future, but also it's easy to get stuck in the what if and everything in the future, but just trying to enjoy every day as well.
Yep.
Not get stressed about the journey.
Yep.
So that's, looking forward to the future.
I love it, mate.
A busy year, a busy couple of years coming up, and it's all for the better. All good.
100%. Dude, I love it, man. I love it. Mate, actually, what I want to jump in, one final thing, man. I'd love to know, before I jump into a couple of things of my own to wrap up as well, man, best piece of advice to others on the journey, thinking about getting started, thinking about school property, thinking about APS, thinking about investing in general.
I think it all relates to mindset for me. Like there's many different mechanisms. Everyone is attracted to different jobs, different vocations, trades, this, uni, the other.
Yep.
It largely doesn't matter. I think it comes down to your personality, how much you're willing to sacrifice, how much effort you're willing to put in will dictate where you're going to get to more than a specific job or anything like that. So I just encourage people, if they really are serious about, their finances, their future, and, building something that gets them where they want to go or working towards their goals, just get in the right mindset before you start and stick it out, stick to your goals, keep realigning, and don't worry about, don't worry about what other people are doing. Focus on yourself. Like, pick someone you want to emulate or someone you admire, and try to work towards what they're doing, and stay in your lane, focus on what you're doing. Do what's right for you, your family, and I think that's the most important thing. Don't get caught in the noise along the way.
Block out the noise. Block out the noise. Emulate and follow someone that's done what you're trying to do, and then get after it, right?
Yep.
Man, I love it, brother. I love it. Mate, if I could round out my key takeaways, that's a beautiful one to throw in there. But for me, man, key takeaways, I love at the start, like you were inspired by even my own journey and reading the Your Investment Property Mag, the article when I won it back in the day, and realizing the change in strategy that was required, and then sticking to that strategy of, especially once you started, of what you knew what was going to work. So many people I know, they make a start or they change strategy and they change this and they're just shooting from the hip and making all these mistakes. The compounding effect of selecting the correct strategy and following the correct strategy is so bloody vital, man. So I love that piece. Man, into even around the PPORs, man, and like kind of the wasted time frame there and the velocity of money, and Jimmy getting stuck into you as well, and you understanding kind of the mistakes you've made around it, but then being able and willing to make that decision to sell a primary residence, actually 2 primary residences or ex-primary residences that weren't moving you closer to your goals. So many people get hung up and not willing to do it and not willing to move over to the rent vesting strategy, when right now we can see if you hadn't made that decision, you never would have done 12 deals in 12 months. You probably wouldn't have done 6 deals in 12 months. Like these things, these moves, these actions allowed you to build in the way you did and create, unbelievable velocity of money versus if you had just held those properties instead. So, man, I absolutely love that side of things, dude. Man, one of the other big things is don't sweat the little stuff. So one of my biggest takeaways from yourself, don't sweat the little stuff. You know when there's things that are worth taking on and being worried about, not wanting to take on the risk of these different things, but then understanding when certain things come up, handling it in a way that is just effective and efficient and moving forward, and being as simple as that, man. So I love that, dude. That was really good. Yeah, man. And look, one of the other huge things probably I'd round out with as well, man, is the commitment and not quitting. So like we look at 2020, 21, 22, all the rest of this sort of thing, when you were stalled and you didn't have to, you maybe weren't going to, all the rest of this sort of thing. It's one of those things, man. It was all these different times that you could have quit and you could have been like, oh, fuck, this is too hard. I'm never going to get there. All the rest of this thing, whether you switch to something else or you just go holiday or whatever, bro, you stayed committed to this thing for like 4 years before you're able to pull the trigger properly on your first investment. And I think like having that mentality, having that mindset, and then being able to explode into what you did this year, like I think it just shows that there's just like that unbelievable commitment and willingness and desire to win, man. You should give yourself a pat. I don't know how often you give yourself a pat in the back. I know I don't really do it either, man. So I don't know if you have yet, but you should give yourself a pat in the back, because how long you stuck through it and then what you were able to explode into and do to finish this thing, mate, was absolutely impressive, man. So you should give yourself a massive pat in the back, mate, because it's absolutely awesome.
Appreciate it.
Man, we've got 60 seconds to wrap up with a rapid fire.
Oh, wonderful.
Let's hook in. You good?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Mate, what's the biggest goal you're chasing? Time frame? I mean, we've run it through it, but hit me.
Around 500K net passive,
Yep.
$5 million PPOR.
Oh, yeah.
Nice tree-lined driveway, something like that.
Very nice.
A bit of land. Time frame, early 40s.
Early
I'm
40s.
32 now.
32 now. So we're talking 10-year window. Dream primary residence. What is it and where?
Yeah, around that. Okay, so around the $5 million mark, I think. Just let's put a number on it.
Treeline Street.
Yep. Sunny Coast Hinterland.
Beautiful.
Maybe Gold Coast Hinterland.
Very nice.
Or something similar to that.
Very nice. I love it, mate. I love it. Dream car.
812 super fast.
Oh yeah, I love the Fez
Has to be in green though.
Green.
Yeah, it has to be British Racing green or Verta green. Yeah. And yeah, the walnut interior.
Very nice, mate.
One day.
Very nice. Drove something very similar to that in NZ on ice, the 812 cylindry, literally British Racing green on the walnut, man. That's very, very nice. Favorite food? You're Greek. It's got to be hummus or khobuli.
No, I don't know.
Gyros.
I was battling thinking about this. I don't know. Let's
Baklava.
Rapid fire. This is really rapid, Pete. Probably like chicken gnocchi or something like that. I don't
What?
know. Chicken gnocchi. Brisket gnocchi, something weird.
There's a bit of Italian sprinkled into the Greek, I
Yeah,
reckon. There's
maybe,
a bit of something in there.
I mean, roast lamb, everyone. Roast lamb.
Okay.
Mum's roast lamb.
Good answer. Good answer. Rita, I love you for that one.
Yeah.
Mate, favorite alcoholic beverage?
Ooh, alcoholic. It'd just be a nice red wine.
A nice red wine.
Yeah. Yep.
You are Italian. All right, mate. I got 2 true or falses to finish up with this. You are currently in negotiations to buy your very own island in Greece.
False.
Oh, I had it from a good source.
Yeah.
No good?
Nah, no good.
No good.
I wish. One day, maybe.
Maybe
How
we're going
big's the
together.
island?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Maybe a rock poking out of the
A
water
rock.
or something, yeah.
I wonder how much that'll cost. I love it. Mate, this one surprised me, but I got sent through from a very good source. You were in negotiations to be the new co-host of the Scouting Australia podcast, but they could not meet your wage demands.
That's true. I don't think Jimmy knows about that one, but
Yeah.
so when he hears about this.
He'll be crying in his chicken gnocchi when he listens back to this one. Mate, final one that I just feel like asking you, I think it'll be a funny one. What's the biggest animal you think you could survive in a fight?
Land or sea?
Well, we're all fucked in the ocean, let's be honest.
Yeah,
so
well,
let's go
I was
land.
thinking that along. Greek people generally can't swim that well, but all right. Let's.
There's not too much in the
focus on land.
Mediterranean anyway, mate.
Probably.
So your biggest adversary that you couldn't survive is the ocean.
Pretty much. That I couldn't survive or could
No,
survive?
you could survive.
Oh, this is hard. I don't know. Maybe like a leopard. Are there leopards in Australia?
You reckon you could survive a leopard?
I don't know.
It'd
Maybe.
destroy you, bro.
Yeah, it
what are
would,
you
wouldn't
talking
it?
about? You can't even
Do I get
outrun
the
it.
sneak on it though, or do I get the jump on it? No, impossible.
It's a cat, bro.
Maybe I'll jump out of the tree and drop onto it. But, yeah,
Just crocodile roll it.
yeah, that's right. Get in the neck.
How are you going to get away?
Yeah, I
You can't climb back
I
up the
don't
tree
know.
or get you. You can't run.
Well, I was going to say like a cow or something like that because they're large, but yeah,
How
it's not
big?
going to do anything.
Yeah,
It's probably going to
yeah.
be friendly, and then I'll choke it out or something. So.
You
I don't know,
reckon
it's too
you
hard,
reckon you
mate.
can get
Too
around a
hard.
cow?
No, I
Right,
don't.
no, you've already lost. You're already dead.
The
You
eye
didn't survive
poke,
it. You
the eye
didn't survive
poke or
it.
something. Who knows?
Oh, mate. Peter
Cows are
Contos.
beautiful, so.
Mate, what's that? Sorry?
Cows are beautiful. I wouldn't.
Cows
do
are
that,
beautiful.
So.
You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that then. You wouldn't do
Have
that
to
to
be a
them.
predator, like a snake or something.
Mate, we've lost it. We've absolutely lost the potty. We're on an island in Greece. We're scared of the water. We're not going in it. We're taking on leopards and snakes on the motherland. Mate, I love it. I love it. Peter Contos, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the studio with me, man, shooting today's podcast, man. Your journey has been nothing short of inspirational, mate. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. It's been good.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Listeners, I hope you took some great value out of today's episode and some great inspiration. If you did, please make sure you send it on to someone else who would also be equally as inspired as yourself in starting a property investment journey and what is truly possible. If you haven't left us a 5-star review yet and you're loving the potty, please jump on, leave us a 5-star review. If you haven't hit the follow subscribe button on your favorite listening platforms, jump on, do that for us. We massively appreciate it. Helps us keep growing the audience of people thinking, talking, and acting the way that we do about property because we bloody love it. And until next week, guys, that's another Scouting Australia podcast.